My deep appreciation of theater history was instilled in me by Tom Empey, a college mentor to me and hundreds, if not thousands of others. While teaching Greek theater terms, he would grab the fabric of his slacks and say,
"You see these pants? Euripides, Eumenides,"
making light of content that could be considered rather dry and stuffy while still maintaining respect for the art, which is what I want to do with this podcast. For each episode, I invite a guest from the many paths my theater career has taken me down. I give my guests no idea what we'll be talking about, but they know we're going to find an outrageous story about theater history and perhaps get a better understanding about why we're still doing it after all these years. So, welcome to Euripides Eumenides, and I am your host, Aaron Odom.
Apocalypse, I said, why you wanna show up now? Just when the heart of my life was getting good. I'll give you one more chance. Walk on out of the door, yeah. Get your ass to getting where the getting is good.
Good morrow, Eumenidites, or goodeen, whichever the case may be for you. This is Aaron Odom from Trident Theater bringing you another episode of Euripides Eumenides, a theater history podcast. Here we are, gang. The penultimate episode of Season 2. I already have the last episode plotted out, and I'm actually kind of surprised I haven't hit on it yet, but you'll find out about that one in 2 weeks. For this episode, I got the opportunity again to record live at the Wyoming State High School Thespian Festival. This event is held on an annual basis, usually during the first weekend in December, and this year it was hosted by the Department of Theater and Dance at the University of Wyoming in Laramie. ThesFest, as we call it, is an annual event in which high school students from all over Wyoming gather to meet other like-minded students and participate in a number of events in which the students are adjudicated by industry professionals, academic professionals, and in some cases, college students in the field. There are individual events in which students will present technical projects like lighting plots and makeup designs and costume designs, or they'll bring prepared monologues, or they'll have their play scripts read and evaluated. There are also group events in which students will present a one-act play in either the arena or proscenium categories, and students can also present devised theater pieces. Now, I've been attending this off and on for several years now, and quite consistently since the COVID pandemic. For the second year in a row now, I was assigned to judge the proscenium one-act events with another returning judge, and we were quite pleased to see the progress that a lot of schools had made from one year to the next. In fact, it was quite impressive to see how many schools presented plays with something of an absurdist bent, as though high school students were starting to shape their own absurdist movement, a natural reaction to the COVID pandemic, much like what happened in Europe following the Second World War. In any case, I saw 15 amazing one-act plays over the course of 3 days and met hundreds of enthusiastic theater students from all over the state. I loved all the plays I saw, but if I must say, I was quite impressed by the group from Torrington High School who presented the play The Night Witches by Rachel Bublitz. I hope I said that right. All about a crew of female bomber pilots in World War II. Just the theatricality of them turning their entire bodies into a single airplane, and the real drama of throwing flashlights up on the screen on the back wall to simulate searchlights. The whole thing was really, really thrilling, and all of the young ladies put in such exquisite work into their characters. It was just a well-crafted piece of theater. I mean, like I said, I saw a lot of truly excellent work by high schoolers, but this one was on a level all of its own. So, Torrington High School, ladies, I tip my cap to you kids. Your gift of theater is truly welcome and needed in this world. Now, I credit a lot of this progress to the two guests on this episode who are primarily responsible for keeping the tournament running. One guest was just recently on the show, Dustin Hebert, who is currently the president of the festival, and we are joined by Zachary McCulley, who I believe this year was a vice president. I'm not quite sure, but they've been running the show this year, and they're continuing to help it grow based on the years of tremendous efforts from their predecessors. In any case, Dustin, Zachary, and I were able to make a space for students who are able to sit down and hear what I bring to the theater history table. Many of them are prior fans, but some of them just wanted to hear a funny and interesting story, which is what we gave them. However, the schedule of the festival only allowed us an hour to record, as the students and my guests were on somewhat of a tight schedule. So if it sounds like we're a little rushed, we were. Don't think that the speed on your podcast app has been misadjusted. We were just going really quick. All three of us were certainly running on a lot of caffeine for the episode, mainly to keep up with the demands of the tournament, but also to stay on top of our game. Plus, this is a topic that I've wanted to tackle for quite a while, and I'm finally glad I had the chance to do it. So, without further ado, here's the episode recorded in front of a live audience at the 2025 Wyoming State High School Thespian Festival with guests Dustin, Hebert, and Zachary McCulley. Episode 14 of Season 2, Is Method Acting Effective? I love having you on because I have a theme song, but apparently it's not good enough. Hey, we're here at the 2025 Wyoming High School Thespian Festival. Hello, thespians. Hi. Woo! That's it. They're trained children. I mean, you don't get applause out of them. They're like, yes, Euripides Humanities is the best show ever. Yeah!
Hooray.
So with me today, returning guest Dustin Hebert and a brand new guest, University of Wyoming. I believe it's associate professor.
No, I'm an assistant lecturer.
Assistant lecturer in musical theater voice.
Yes.
Zachary McCulley. Hello, Zach.
Hello.
Welcome.
Look at that. Cheers for me and no work. My favorite.
Okay, so Dustin, we've talked about your program quite a bit. I saw some of your students last night. Did a phenomenal job. I was judging them in the proscenium event, and they did quite well. Yep. But Zachary, you've been here for several years at the University of Wyoming. Tell me a little bit just about the program and how it's running right now.
Yeah, this is my fourth year at the University of Wyoming in the theater and dance department, and I stepped into an ever-changing department that was seeing a huge retirement of faculty that had been here for 20 plus years, and now we're a faculty that's been here for 3 to 4 years. And in that time, we've spent the last 3 years completely renovating our curriculum, updating and bringing it into the needs of the 21st century artists, what is needed in 2025, and how do we have curriculum that can change so we can meet the needs of what students will need to do when they finish in 4 years. So we've spent tons and tons of time across all of our areas: musical theater, acting, dance science, design production management, which is costume, makeup, scenes, props, lighting, sound. Creating a whole entire brand new catalog of curriculum so students can get real world skills that they can take out into the industry.
Right, and people wouldn't expect that from Wyoming.
No, we're the only 4-year institution in the state, and we're a relatively medium to large size BFA program, Bachelor of Fine Arts program, that is quite ever changing and shifting to the needs. I think that's the biggest thing I can say is we're really making sure that we as industry professionals across the spectrum of disciplines are making sure that our program stands out.
Yeah, and that's something that I was going to say. Dustin and I are well versed in okay, we're going to try to figure out something that this audience likes, and every community is different, and there are some things you're like, I don't know if the community is going to go for this.
Every single time.
Every single time.
Absolutely.
But looking at your slate over the last few years, a couple that pop up to mind are Next to Normal.
Oh, absolutely, which I was
ridiculous.
the music director on. It was a dream show.
And I understand the community just loved it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, Laramie is full of arts. That's the wonderful thing about Albany County is there's so much art happening, but there's also so much art that's willing to take risk. Right? Every 4 years we do the Nutcracker. That's sort of our repertory piece that lives writ large. But everything else, we're building it around what our students need. What is the industry doing so we can making sure our students are connected to the industry? And then also, what do we want to do? Next Normal is a dream project for the costume designer and myself.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorite shows. It was sort of one of those shows that hit Broadway when I was in college. And I can't imagine how obsessed I was then because I knew every word going in before I even had to do my score studies. So that's exactly what our season is relevant.
And I'm seeing you've got stuff that is really challenging for a lot of audiences and giving them an opportunity to kind of go, oh, this is what theater can do. It's it's not all just like Golden Age musicals that are crowd pleasing all the time.
Well, and the great part is it directly contrasts 95 to almost 99% of the high school programs where we are forced to abide by community guidelines, by community standards. And it's okay that we are forced to do that with a complete understanding that there is more to the world and that there's a vast amount of information that we can't actually touch, that we can't deal with. Theater was meant to instruct and delight, and a lot of people, a lot of those Golden Age musicals, the instruction's just not really relevant.
Yeah, and I say, like it's meant to instruct and delight, but it's also meant to challenge.
Correct.
And I think that's the biggest difference is in high school theater we have to live in sort of instruct and delight spaces, and in college theater we have to live in challenge. Our students need the rigor challenge, they need the space challenge and the topic challenge, but they also need to experience more of the world that they maybe didn't get coming into college, because there are other needs that have to be met in a high school space.
It's very nice that the university has decided to go down that pathway. The prior administration chose not to do that, and we want that from a university experience for our students. We want them to go out and do the things that we can't do. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah. So, and here we are, most of the audience here in-house today, live from University of Wyoming, are high school students who are, a lot of them I've talked to over the last day and a half are interested in pursuing this at some point, and this might be a really great place to do it. So in just a couple sentences, because we've only got a little bit of time here to do a podcast today, what do you two hope your efforts put into this, what do you hope these students get out of this festival?
I'll say this, I was born and raised in Rock Springs, Wyoming.
Oh my gosh, okay.
I actually lived in a town called Table Rock, which was a town of 50 houses. There were 6 kids, my brother and 3 girls across the street.
Now, did you pronounce that right, or is there supposed to be a spit and a platoon sound after Table Rock?
It's in the creek. You spit in the creek.
In the creek.
Bitter creek.
Table Rock.
I grew up in Wyoming in a space that had minimal theater in the school system, but it had an amazing community college at that time that was really building a space for the youth to also be in those spaces. So by the time I had finished high school, I'd done tons of theater, but the state Thespian program was not as robust. So I would say the efforts that I am working with Dustin on and the rest of the Wyoming State Thespian Festival Board is to make sure that these students have access to A, the opportunity to do theater across all the disciplines, and B, they have access to industry professionals that can show them that you can come from a small town in Wyoming and you can go out and make something of yourself in this industry. That's what I hope they get.
I hope they understand how lucky they are to have this. When I first started teaching theater 9 years ago, I came from a school in Colorado, and the Colorado Thespian Festival was already huge. It was gigantic, and they had massive industry professionals. Here, the first year I came, the kids sat in the gymnasium, and they went to rounds. They got their scores, they got their medals, and then they went home. There was no educational aspect to this. And so when I started, I said, this is unacceptable in any way. We need to be teaching them that there's more to life than just being evaluated for doing a moment in time. There should be a lifelong learning work that is happening. And so it's really, really great to see this festival blow up like this. And really and truly, personally, I just want them to have a better experience than I did in high school.
And
that's exactly it.
But the idea here is, awards are nice, but, you're making some connections and everything. You're learning some great stuff from people.
Absolutely.
So,
across all of the categories of performing arts.
Great. Well, I don't think I'm alone here. I think these guys deserve a round of applause for their efforts. So please give them some love. Yeah.
We'll take our
All
bow.
right.
We'll take our bow.
Okay, so
You can keep going.
So, for the sake of brevity and the fact that we have less than an hour to get all of this into one session, I'm going to paint with some pretty broad strokes here as we move right into the topic. Okay? I'm going to talk about what acting was like in the 19th century. Also, I have to consider that my in-house audience may never have heard some of this stuff, so I'm trying to get all of us on the same page, okay? Simply put, it was the height of melodrama, okay? It wasn't unusual to see somebody receiving a letter and opening the letter and going, I have received a letter, and reading the letter, and through the letter they are gesticulating and pontificating, and it could just be something like your dog is ready to be picked up at the kennel. And that, this is as far, they were going hardcore on this is what I'm feeling, and is it virtuous or is it vice? It was, okay. Plus, it has long been a practice of theater to have a play's dialogue be in something of heightened language. Nothing seemed real. That all came to a head near the end of the 19th century when pretty much everyone in theater demanded more realistic circumstances in plays, as they thought theater should be more about exploring the human condition. What a novel idea. Rather than telling flowery stories about how much better virtue is.
Is that where it all went wrong?
I'm a seagull. I'm a seagull. I'm not a seagull. I'm a seagull.
I mean, we could be having those Full House moments at the end of every play. Every play. It's okay. You're fine. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, aw. 1, 2, 3. Aww. Yeah,
I was a seagull.
But why can't we go to Moscow? Now, as far as playwrights go, what we're referring to, you have people like Henrik Ibsen and Anton Chekhov doing what they could to present, air quotes, people on stage in a more realistic manner. But that's all for nothing without actors having to adopt a more realistic style. This is where a guy, does anybody know who I'm going to say? Good.
Start with an S?
It does start with an S.
Isn't it-
Konstantin Stanislavski comes
Yeah.
in his work in the Moscow Art Theater, which was soon studied and adapted by theater groups all over the West. Now, here's mainly kind of the overall core of Stanislavski's reason to basically reinvent acting. And this quote is paraphrased, but here it is. Quote, "The reality of the acts of daily life becomes strained when on stage and thus difficult to believe, much less convey the story and themes appropriately. Therefore, acting needs something of a complete overhaul." End quote. Okay, so just like I was discussing with the letter and the, I mean, that in today's life is, I gotta go get the mail.
Guess I'll go get this cup of coffee.
Car's out of gas.
Yeah.
Back to the gas station.
Now, I'm not even joking when I'm saying this idea was quite radical in the world of acting. We went from absolutely representational acting to internalizing everything to make it more believable. Now, here's kind of an overview of what Stanislavski wanted his actors to focus on when performing. Do rather than feel, so do actions instead of try to make the thing all about emotion. As David Mamet once really famously said, emotions are byproducts of scenes rather than the point of the scene. If the actor tries to make the emotion the focus of the scene, it won't work. How many times, kids, have you had a director who's like, okay, be angry? Yeah. You're like, okay, what am I angry about? Shut up, just be angry, right? So trying to do that doesn't really work. Work on the actions, the emotions will be the result. Here's another one. Focus on given circumstances of the character's world. Everything in the character's environment, history, lifestyle, all of that will inform how the character will behave or react in any given stimulus. Now, this is the big one that I think, and you two can feel free to let me know if you're like, no, there's a better one. The magic if. It's a simple question that has a lot of deeper meaning to it when you are approaching acting. What if I was this character in these situations? Okay? That's huge when you think about a lot of different things. You are not that character, but what if you were? Okay? You take yourself into a situation and you try to adapt to all of the circumstances you can, which takes a lot of effort. This sounds like what you're supposed to do now, right? Nobody had this idea in mind at the end of the 19th century. This was like brain-blowing. Okay. I think the last one I should probably mention is the super objective. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does the character want overall from beginning to the end of the play? What are they trying to achieve? And then inside that, there's something called beats, which are like mini objectives that the character has to achieve or try to work around. Okay. What do you guys think?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the standard. Well, for me, at least, that's the base level. You can't get anywhere in the show unless you start with those pieces.
Yeah.
Because our job as artists, and Zachary might disagree, and please do.
I will.
Like, I'm going to get a tattoo on my arm that says, "Tell the story." The story's the most important piece.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can't tell the story unless you understand all the parts. And you can't understand why Goldilocks decided to go into these three bears' houses unless you understand where Goldilocks is coming from, why she's doing it. Other than that, it becomes trite. It becomes two-dimensional.
My guess? Porridge fetish.
Absolutely not.
Good to think about.
Goldilocks had a very clear intention of some light B and E. Like she enjoyed breaking and entering into people's homes. It's the thrill of the
hunt,
potential.
yeah. Yep.
Like she could have broken into any. It could have been the golfers' homes, but she chose bears because it's risk-seeking behavior that we now encourage as much as humanly possible. But it also part of doing this as Konstantin Stanislavski, I felt it was also giving credit to the authors far more.
Yes.
He wanted the authors' works to become three-dimensional, and so and it's so difficult when we're. It's not difficult when we're working with kids if we give them this piece, but a lot of times they have a hard time because some of the given circumstances you have to make up.
Right.
And that's where the magic gift comes in because it provides you a bridge with imagination.
Okay.
And you want me to stop? I'm going to stop.
Hold on. I'm just saying.
I'm stopping.
I want to connect onto that real quick.
He's
because
connecting.
The next piece that I think we should probably talk about is that Stanislavski also wanted his actors who had no idea how to act in any given circumstances like, for example, if I'm playing Hamlet, sorry, I've never been a prince. I've never been a Danish prince. I've never been a Danish prince throughout the years in history, okay? So what he is asking for in some cases is emotional memory. Even though he kind of switched gears towards the end of his career about that. Here's a quote from his earlier days. Stanislavski encouraged actors to develop their ability to observe emotional reactions in their daily lives. The emotional memories developed offstage provide the actor with strong feelings to draw from when their character experiences a similar emotion on stage. Yeah. Okay, so like given circumstances might be you're a political candidate and in the scene you're expecting to win, but you don't win. Okay? I would wager to say that nobody in the room has been in that situation. But how about this? I've got some younger ladies here. You ever been stood up at a prom for a date? Anything? The guy didn't call back or text back?
Lucky.
No kidding.
Right?
If I had a list of guys that never text me back.
I know. I'm sorry. We talked about that. But I mean, it's kind of the idea of I had been building up an expectation and it was going to be grand and glorious and it never happened. So you can know how you felt in that moment and apply it to a situation of being a political candidate who didn't win the election. Now, these weren't the only things that Stanislavski worked on or suggested that actors worked on, but these are kind of the important ones for this episode. And Stanislavski's methods became incredibly popular as realism and naturalism became more prevalent in the world of theater. And Stanislavski's techniques got something of a further evolution through the efforts of a troupe called the Group Theater in New York in the 1930s. They used his techniques to basically turn their productions into acting clinics for the actors who would sign up. The three biggest names to come out of the group theater as far as acting is concerned were Lee Strasberg, Stella Adler, and Sanford Meisner.
Yep.
Okay, write these ones down, kids. They're fun to study.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
different,
I'm
too.
going to give you an overview here.
a lot.
Because that's where we're going. Now, each of them developed their own, air quotes, method for acting. And each of them, to a greater or lesser degree, has been associated with the terms method and acting since then.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay? So I'm going to try to succinctly summarize the acting styles of the three because their differing views on how actors should create a role to present on stage was a major factor in the group breaking up less than 9 years after the whole thing was started.
Yeah. Because
I mean, 9 years with the same
that's
actors
actually
is a
pretty-
long
that's pretty
time.
solid, right?
That's a great
That's a lifetime in my feelings.
Each of them have their own way of doing it. There was no
There was no way it's gonna
continuity.
stay
There's no way
together.
it's going to work. Oh, well, mine's like, and there's it always offers comparison too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's always
I mean,
the worst part of that. Strasberg and Meisner were absolutely like fighting over, and Stella Adler sitting over like, oh, just watch the boys fight.
Truly. Just,
I do my own thing.
yeah.
So, yes, my theater enthusiasts across the world, I can just hear you banging your head against the wall or tearing your hair out. I'm not going to hit everything, I promise. Okay? We've got a lot of ground to cover, and I don't have a lot of time to do it. So you can just send me your corrections through my website. Stella Adler, let's start with Stella. I'll start with her techniques because to me, her style seems like probably the easiest to explain. And here's a quote I found from Arthur Mendoza, who taught in her style at one of her academies. Quote, The Stella Adler technique is a series of exercises that start with the actor's reality and ends entirely with their imagination, completely removed from their own experiences and feelings. This technique is about acting wholly from imagination. Guys agree?
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
I don't think
yeah,
it's. I never like. I don't think that that's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I will tell you this: it's not possible because you know what your body does,
Yep.
and you've already lived these experiences. It's impossible.
Yep.
I can't imagine me crying in a different way than how I cry.
Right.
Like that's
Right.
just what happens.
Okay, here's a continuation of this quote. In this technique, the actor's imagination must be equal to the reality. This is not easy, and it takes much rehearsal to deliver believable characters, strong emotions, and power and truthful performances. End quote. So it does take more time. You have to adapt a little bit more to imagining. Like one thing I read was one of the exercises was as an actor, you have to go out into nature and see something. Maybe it's a leaf getting ready to fall off a tree. And you have to come back to the actors you're rehearsing with and describe it in such distinct detail that the actors you're describing it to will be able to see it in their minds. And so this is like how you're supposed to just fully from imagination create a character. Thoughts?
What a
seems so-
labor for a
Yeah,
long
that's
play.
ridiculous.
It's a lot of work.
I get paid by the week.
I want a
Settle
higher
down.
hourly rate to study this play.
I don't know how that method would work with a play like Beauty and the Beast or SpongeBob. What am I supposed to do? Stick my head in the ocean and just hope for the best? Like, I have to feel the experience of
Be the candlestick
be
for
the
a while and
crab.
describe it that way.
Imagine you have fangs in your mouth, and
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
start.
Yeah, I think it's also tricky too because a lot of people don't always have all of the skills of imagination, right?
Right, yeah.
Visual skills, all of those. So I think it becomes really complex when you have to teach.
I think it's hard to make it, and it's hard because they're trying to make a blanket process for everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
this is their process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you stack your name to it, well, this is this process. This is Stella Adler's process. Well, yeah, but that means that it works for her.
Yeah, I think this is what's really
right.
amazing because like I come out of the voice world, generations later, but also the voice world was totally crazy singing world. And the methodology is so important in voice training as it is in acting training. It's amazing to see the derivative. Like we haven't heard about the other two yet. But you're gonna hear how wildly different they are.
Oh, it's so
right.
crazy.
So they came out of the same school from the same guy, and the actual ideas that they brought into their academies, into their schools, are
Right.
so wildly different. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Now, coming back to Adler, though, just real quick, Adler advocated a quote that I love, and I'm paraphrasing this as well, but I've incorporated this into my acting. Quote, everything you need to know is in the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this comes back to like honoring the text.
All
right?
right, the text, tell the
Right,
story.
It's right there.
That's your job.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, using the example of Hamlet, I don't know what it means to be a Danish prince, but I know I am a Danish prince.
But you can see it in the text.
Yeah.
His contrast after his father is killed and the way he behaves directly contrasts his experience as a prince. He was a
you go.
spoiled brat then, and he threw temper tantrums when his daddy died. Like it's very simple. Like it's right there, which gives you such good foundation to play.
Yep.
Like it just works, and we can see the differences about how each actor interprets that text.
Right.
David Tennant's version is drastically different than Benedict Cumberbatch. So like, there's so many different ways to do it that it's just all has to be founded in telling the story.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, since Adler focuses so much on using vivid imagination to tell a story and create a character, many consider Adler's style to be a pretty big shift away from Stanislavski's methods, since it pretty much removed the idea of the actor drawing upon personal experience to create the character. Some actors that people here might know who are fans of the Adler technique are Jason Momoa and Mark Ruffalo.
You didn't mention Marlon Brando?
No,
Okay.
we'll get there.
Sorry. Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay.
No Marlon for you. Sweetheart, no more.
Okay, I'm going to move on to Sanford Meisner. Similar to Adler, Meisner's techniques moved away from emotional recall and suggested that the actor putting themselves into the circumstances of the character is best. So really live in the moment based on what you're reading in the script. He goes on to suggest that rather than emotional recall, more genuine emotion and thus truth will be achieved when the actor is actively listening and actively responding to any stimulus, all the while respecting the given circumstances of the character. So again, I don't know how to be a Danish prince, but I've got this girl who's kind of like, hey, weren't we supposed to get married? And I'm completely obsessed with revenge for my father.
Yes.
Right?
That is the story.
So I don't need to know anything about a Danish prince. I need to know about this former relationship that I had and how I try to deflect her or distract her or get away from her.
Okay, can I ask a clarifying question?
Please.
So what you're saying, and let's just recap. So this is Meisner, correct?
This is Meisner.
So Meisner focuses not necessarily on the relationship of the character to themselves, but the character to the individuals. Are you? This is you teaching me.
I'm teaching you. I would say it's using the actors, the actor themselves, their personality and everything, and putting them into the circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the circumstances are what dictates the character. This is so frustrating because you have to be able to justify this. How I stand, how I walk, how I breathe is because of the way that I was raised. How you feel, how you think, how you exist is because of the gloriousness of your cute town. Like where you spit.
Side of I-80. Right there.
This is what we learn. These are the things that create us as human beings.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to have a really hard time because I always believe that I draw on me.
Yeah.
I'm my foundational starting point because I only know me better than I know anybody else. I'm my guy.
I feel like there's also an element of Meisner, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not an expert in all of these, or any of them actually. But there's an element of the like right now that's really present. Like yourself right now in this moment is really present in
Yes.
Meisner's work. And how does that connect to all of this, right? I'm not sure.
Well, it's almost like it's that whole idea of you're playing the moment for the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
it's-
Like, and as you are experiencing the world right now, today.
Yeah, and I don't think he necessarily goes like totally away so much from like draw from yourself, but I mean you're there. You're in the situation.
Yeah.
Like
It's, how are you drawing from yourself in this exact moment?
Yeah.
Is sort of where I've always taken it
Right.
from.
So some famous users of the Meisner technique are Anthony Hopkins, Alexandra Daddario, and Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet.
He's okay.
I never heard of him.
Nope.
All right, let's get to Strasbourg.
You can do this.
I can do it.
I believe in you in
Put
this.
yourself into it. You can
All right,
do
here
it.
we go.
His first name's Lee.
But it was Lee
Strasberg.
Strasberg's style of acting that seemed to resonate with a lot of actors, as it primarily suggests that drawing upon personal experience to inform a character and the character's choices, that's the way to go. Quote, Lee Strasberg is often credited with popularizing the term, air quotes, method acting in the United States. His approach was heavily influenced by Stanislavski's system, but took a distinct turn. Strasberg emphasized the use of emotional memory and sensory exercises to create realistic and emotionally charged performances. His teaching encouraged actors to tap into their own personal experiences to evoke genuine emotions on stage, a technique famously known as sense memory.
Question. I have a question. Just to refresh, time period?
Time period?
The time frame for this 19.
This is like in the 30s.
So
Yeah,
before
30s,
any
40s.
exploration into mental health.
This is an amazing segue to talk about Strasberg.
Absolutely.
I walk into my day one grad acting in my master's program, and he's like a Strasberg person through and through, like from the lineage, and we had to sit and do emotional recall, all of this stuff. And I was like, I think my therapist actually healed me. It was the moment where I was like, I can't actually pull anything from the well. I think I'm good. I think I've done the work.
So I read a story where Strasberg was defending his technique in that he was asking a girl to do just a basic thing, like, I don't know, pick up a glass of water or something like that.
Yeah.
And each time he would ask, it was more intense and more charged, and eventually the girl broke down and started crying.
Yeah,
And he's like, why are you
yeah.
crying? And they started talking about it, and she's like, because I was just thinking about something my dad said to me before he died. And then he's like, and then the light bulb came on and she felt better. I'm like, I don't know if I would have had the same
trust any of you.
experience.
That doesn't make any sense.
This is the biggest thing. That's not safe. That's not safe for humans.
That's it for people.
Now, I actually went back and tried to read Uta Hagen's Respect for Acting.
Yeah.
again.
Yeah,
And I
that
got
is also.
Yeah, and you go through it and there's one paragraph. There is one paragraph where they're like, If you use stuff that you haven't entirely healed from yet, maybe don't use that.
Not gonna be okay.
By the way,
Okay, going on.
and that's important. But when they say stuff you haven't entirely healed yet, that's trauma.
That is trauma.
That is trauma. Trauma. Trauma is defined as unresolved emotional circumstances.
From
Unresolved is the key there, which means you don't have that conclusion. You cannot bring yourself back to a place of safety.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So
It's not
if
But it was the 1920s. Who cares?
yeah, well, and I'm just using this as kind of an example, but I mean, it is, we're talking about theater. It's the most significant moments of people's lives. What if you're a young woman and you have like an emotionally abusive father? If you're asked to tap into that and you still haven't like been able to reconcile your feelings with that, and you go into a show, that's, oh boy.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, you can't protect
There's no safety-
yourself.
there's
There's
no-
no safety and no ability to turn it off when you're in the room.
Also,
or
and I
out of
think
the
this
room.
is really important, is that from a theater director standpoint, you should create something that is reproducible consistently.
Isn't that the name of the game? We want to do this show how many
Correct.
times a week? And
Correct.
If you have to go that
7
deep
times a
into the
week.
well, 8 times a week.
8 times?
Yep.
How deep in the well can you actually go?
Yeah.
And be able
You
to then
can't.
walk away and have a life.
Because then you get numb to it, and it's going to catch you in the butt like a month later. And so it's impossible. It's just not sustainable.
So some famous users of the Strasbourg technique from history were known as, Marlon Brando,
Oh, him.
James Dean, and Marilyn Monroe.
All of them did really well.
He overdosed.
All of them did really well. The audience knows. The audience knows what's up with that.
All of them did well. Whether you came out of Stanislavski or you came out of Meisner, like the people that were coming out of these schools are what we see as like Hollywood in the golden age, moving into the golden age
Yeah.
of Broadway, moving into the Unterhagens of the world, right? Like this people that were coming out of these techniques are what we consider some of the masters that we now have on film.
But they're also like warning stories. They're also warning
Every
stories.
single one of them
Every
is
single
it's a
one of
cautionary
them.
Isn't
tale.
that everything in life?
I've
Right? It's
never
not just actors or warning
look
stories.
at Marlon Brando. He was great, and then he really wasn't great. Like he had a really great like decade or two, and then no.
Yeah.
James Dean drove himself off a cliff because he needed that level of excitement, probably to bury some of the issues that he was experiencing. And let's not even get
And then
into the
he
drug
had-
use.
He had to relive those issues every day
Correct.
because of diving into this type of work.
Absolutely not.
Yep.
Tricky.
So
Shut it down.
So, it's pretty much a combination of the Adler, Meisner, and more specifically the Strasbourg techniques that gets grouped together and defined as method acting, or the method. Now, I personally prefer more of a combination of the Adler and Meisner techniques, using Adler in terms of using the script to inform virtually every decision, and using Meisner to stay present in the moment.
Correct.
Okay, I think that's a lot of what we'll see people do.
And I think it's also great if you use those connected to things like super objective and tactic, right? You actually
Yeah.
get to the work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Easily and accessible and doable multiple times.
Yeah, and as we've kind of been hinting, like for me, Strasbourg doesn't really work for me. I can't really put myself in the exact position of the character. Like I cannot do
My
that.
therapist and we did the work. I truly finished it and was like, nothing happened.
Yeah,
I'm good.
But on the
Healed.
other hand, like I do understand an actor's preference for this method. It's their mind to do whatever they want with. I
It's
would
their
say.
choice.
It's their choice.
I don't recommend it.
Yep. But for some actors, just pretending isn't enough.
Yeah.
And if they've never been in the character circumstances before, some actors will do everything they can to recreate the character circumstances so they can know how to act as the character would feel, and thus be able to recall the sensations and emotions.
That seems really safe.
So really, in essence, I think most people identify the term method acting with an actor going so far into playing a character that they do everything they can to become the character entirely.
The audience knows exactly what we're talking about at this point. Like they can pinpoint at least 5 actors that do that. Never ends well.
Okay, now Zachary, I wanted to hear from your side of it,
Yeah.
going through musical theater. Dustin and I are pretty familiar with this happening, on stage and screen and
Yeah,
stuff. But in the
yeah.
musical theater world, how far do people go with that?
I mean, it just depends on where you come from.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. I'll say it's a real derivative. I was in graduate school and we were doing a Strasbourg.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And that wasn't 25 years ago. I'm quite young. That was recent. So
Thanks.
I really think it depends on where you're at. I know that a lot of musical theater schools, big conservatories, those like Big 12 major producers are playing more in the Meisner world.
Yeah.
There's also a huge push in New York right now with this amazing company called Meisner in Music that are training a lot of people that are coming in and out of BFA programs and out, or just coming into the musical theater world in those given circumstances. Because I think musical theater has a lot that's added to it when we add in elements of dance, when we add in all these extra things that are a little bit more super normal as we get into the musical theater world. So I think that there's a lot of push for Meisner, but in all things, I think there's a more collective approach. I think that people are like what happened of coming out of Stanislavski. People are taking what works for them and starting to build on that and use that as a methodology or a type of collection of ideas. So,
I think we are also focusing a whole lot more in every program on making sure that we're mentally healthy.
well, this is exactly the
that's-
most important thing. Is if we look at all of these ideologies and these methodologies, like which one makes a sustainable, healthy artist, and which one makes it accessible to do. There are Broadway shows that are running 8 shows a week or 10 shows a week, right? People have 3 show Saturdays, right? You have to repeat that, and it's not people. It's not just like a small show. Like Cynthia Erivo talks about this all the time after coming out of Color Purple.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to step in that amount of trauma, you have to come to it from a safe space.
Correct.
Right.
You can't come to that amount of trauma every night and sing the way you have to sing if you're coming from a place that doesn't allow you to be healed.
Right. Now, going off of that, I also have to bring up the idea of whether or not one actor's preparation for a role can or should bleed over into the other preparations of other actors.
I mean,
Okay, let's define a couple of things.
Go.
Can or should? It will.
It will.
It will. There is no can or should unless you're doing a one-man show playing multiple characters with different voices. Like that's not going to work. Acting is relationships. Acting is a team effort. Acting has to be one of those things where I have to most importantly trust the person that's working with me, and if they are reacting to their process in an erratic fashion, I won't work with that because there's no way that I can count on it. There's no way that it's repeatable. A great example for students is this. Don't change crap on closing night.
Oh my God.
Okay? That messes everything up. Don't change your lines. Don't change your stuff. You want to see a show grind to the halt where you're enjoying yourself, but the problem is this, is that when you create a situation where you can't trust your partner on stage, you ignore your audience.
Yep.
You remove the audience. Then it becomes about you and not about the audience. Your job is to tell the story. It's
To an
not
audience.
a different story tonight.
Yep.
I would ask in the sense of preparation, are you talking about me and my personal preparation before rehearsal, or are you talking about the collaborative space that we're working together? Because I think that's different, right? The way that I work on my own, I can do whatever the hell I want, right? The way that we work together, we have to have conversation.
Right. But we'll get into a few examples here in just a moment. I guess I'm more thinking like, I don't know, for example, like pre-show, somebody, I used to do this for a while and went, oh, that's a dumb thing to do. I would like separate myself from everybody because the character that I was playing in that show was kind of like a couple tiers above the rest of the cast as far as like social standing. So I'm like, I can't.
You said I will method my way through this.
I kind of did.
And go be in a different social standing to get into this space.
Yeah, and then I'd come back and I'm kind of in character. Like there was one thing that I did. I know like one song on a piano, and I go and I try to play that song. And if I played it well, I'm like, oh, tonight's gonna be good. And then if I didn't, I'm like, I'm gonna have a little, there's gonna be a monkey on my back.
My question would be: was there camaraderie in the cast with you?
Not with me.
That
with
makes complete
them.
sense.
That
makes complete sense.
Yeah.
There's no barrier there because you don't get a shut-off time.
And was it a good experience for you?
I had a great time with the show, but I didn't actually bond with the other actors in the way I would have liked to.
Yeah, that's not. That would not be my choice.
Yeah. Well.
It was a choice.
Yeah,
choice.
It's a choice.
You made choices. That's
You
what
made
we
choices.
want. Make
Choices.
I went through it, and I went. I don't know that I ever want to do that again.
Yeah, I don't either.
But you wouldn't have known. You wouldn't have known unless you tried it.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
what I think. Oh no, I'm going to let you do this.
Well, here's the thing.
resentment.
I would suggest that we look at a few examples of that most of my audience might recognize from film, As there's a greater chance that we've all seen the films that will be discussed and determine whether or not the roles are more effective or less effective based on the fact that the method was applied.
Cool.
I know where this is going. I'm not happy about this at all.
Okay. Now, I want to rule out things like significant weight loss or significant weight gain that actors might
So,
perform.
so Christian Bale's out.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just going to say first. I usually see this with him. He famously dropped to 120 pounds from his usual 185 to play the machinist in 2004, and then just pack on 85 pounds of muscle in less than a year
Dark
to
Knight.
play Batman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? He's also added lots of weight to play characters like the recently deceased Dick Cheney.
Correct.
Just to do it. And you'll see this like Tom
Not
Hanks-
healthy.
No, not healthy. Yes.
Hard life when you get older.
You'll have your physicians say that, sure. I'd rather talk about some of the heaviest hitters in popular culture and the specific choices they made to play the parts that they have. And before I begin this list, I want to state in my research, most of these actors were men. No.
Well, we're the most insecure. How can you not be surprised at that? Are you friggin' kidding me?
Now, I heard... I pulled this...
Fine.
I pulled this from one interview with Natalie Portman, who a lot of people said applied the method, and she's like, no, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. This is what she said. I've gotten very into roles, but I think it's honestly a luxury that women can't afford. I don't think the children or partners would be very understanding of, me making everyone call me Jackie Kennedy all the time. Okay. The ladies in the audience are like, yeah, I ain't doing that. Meryl Streep has been suggested to use the method.
Her?
Meryl?
In this economy?
Never.
But she pretty much abandoned the process upon completing the film The Devil Wears Prada.
Or did she bring it back?
I don't think she brought it back. No. Yeah,
She baked cookies and had everybody over for lunch.
So according to Streep and her co-stars, Streep did her best to do kind of what I did, to stay in character the entire time she was on set, a character that believed herself to be pretty much above everybody else. While her cast members praised her dedication, Streep said that the process of isolating herself from the cast prevented her from having so much of the fun that everyone else was having during the shoot. So she just said, I quit the method and hasn't gone back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Everyone snaps. Yeah.
Not healthy.
That's right. I like wonder if there's study to be done, right? In the ability to step into method with things like sports psychologists and actually mental health teams to help you versus, 100 years, not 100 years ago, but close enough.
Well-
with none of that.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things, but Meryl Streep, if she did that with Devil Wears Prada, that was her first time trying it?
She had been kind of consistently doing
That
it
she'd come
on and
out
off.
of that
What-
school.
she was.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I
when
read-
she said, I'm done with it.
Yeah, I
But
read
believe
another
it's
thing where
present.
you kids might not get this, but in an Oscar-nominated role she had, Kramer versus Kramer.
Yeah.
It's about a man and wife having a really, really ugly divorce, and she said in that one, which is kind of a neat feather in the cap, is when you play a role, try to have a secret that nobody else knows. And she said, now that thing's over, I can tell you, I never loved him. I decided that the character never loved the husband that she's divorcing, and it really informed the choice a lot, or informed the performance a lot.
Which is really advanced, kids. Don't try that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that yet.
Don't do that.
Don't
Now,
do that at all.
I'm sure there are some more famous women out there still, that are applying the method, but they don't seem to be as widely publicized as their male counterparts. Although I do have to throw my hands in the air for Kate Winslet, breaking Tom Cruise's record for longest time holding in their breath underwater as an actor, holding their breath underwater for the purpose of just filming a scene. Tom Cruise's record was 6 minutes while filming Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Kate Winslet broke that with 7 minutes and 15 seconds while filming Avatar: The Way of Water.
And
Zachary came to hold his breath for a minute.
no, give me the 30 seconds. I'm out.
He's not a runner.
No,
He's not a runner.
I'm not. I won't be.
Okay,
No method
so
for me.
let's get on to the men. Gonna start with
Bring on the men.
Leo DiCaprio.
How did you not see that coming?
Yep.
Oh, you knew. They knew. Some knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, you knew.
while Leo hasn't ever really said, I'm not really a method actor, he ate bison liver and hid himself in a real animal carcass to play the wounded fur trapper Hugh Glass in 2015's
Yeah, but
The
who
Revenant.
hasn't?
Yeah.
I'm actually
come
bound to do
on.
that tomorrow.
If I get snowed in, that's what's going to happen.
That's a weekend in Table Rock, right?
Honestly, but in an antelope.
Now, these moments were written into the script and actually filmed. And what you see on screen are Leo's legitimate reactions to both. Leo has never, like I said, claimed to be a method actor, but those were some pretty extreme circumstances. That won him his first Oscar, but that was his 6th nomination. And since then, he's been nominated once more. I personally think he should have won for The Aviator for playing Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
But that same year, Jamie Foxx played Ray Charles.
Ray Charles,
By the way, Jamie Foxx also glued his eyelids shut to play Ray Charles. It was a suggestion of the director, and he
Obviously.
did it. Yeah.
It was like a little crazy.
Shimmer, glue, shh,
Go.
glue,
Let's go.
glue,
I'm going to try.
act. Now you're blind.
Now play the
Play
piano.
the piano and sing.
So yeah, Fox actually had panic attacks,
Yeah.
and said we got to do something. So they made prosthetic eyes, or like eyelids.
Even
for him.
then, that's
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Prosthetic feels way better than my
Yep.
eyes glued.
Okay, next one. James Gandolfini.
Yep.
In the early days of his career, the Sopranos star, he was Tony Soprano. He got lots of roles playing tough guys, particularly for organized crime. To get himself ready to play what he would call lowlifes, Gandolfini would demand to stay in crummy hotels when shooting on location. He would refuse to shower for days at a time and would often wear the same pair of underwear for days on end.
Oh wait, I travel that way.
With your bedazzled Burks.
He
The
said,
Travel Lodge.
he said it helped him understand how his character would live and how that would inform his decisions. He eventually was like, that's pretty stupid.
Pass.
Not for me anymore.
Jim Carrey. There's a whole documentary about when Jim Carrey played famed 70s comedian Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
Carrey insisted on being known as Andy throughout the shoot, on and off set, even at home, to the point where Carrey claims he heard Kaufman's voice at several times, guiding him through the shoot. Okay?
That's so weird.
The
I don't want to
production...
live like that.
It feels selfish. I'm just saying that. It feels like you're only concerned about you, but there's other people with you.
Yeah.
The production nearly made Carrey give up the business forever, as he often started to question reality.
Yeah. Yep, there it is.
Yep.
And there it is.
Okay, everybody comfortable? Here we go. Robert De Niro. Okay, now I could talk about his tremendous weight gain and loss to play boxer Jake LaMotta in 1980's Raging Bull,
Yes.
but I got one better. I could also talk about his stints driving a cab in New York City to play Travis Bickle in the controversial 1976 film Taxi Driver. But yep, there's better. To play crazed convict Max Cady in the 1991 remake of the classic thriller Cape Fear, De Niro paid over $20,000 to have his teeth filed down to make them shorter and thus more unsettling to viewers.
Did they grow back?
Ain't doing it. Nope.
I mean, what a great privilege for him to have a dentist to do that.
You want to what?
Yeah, sure, I'll take 20K. Let's file him down.
What if it didn't work? What if it didn't work? He's like, oh.
Or like, what about a prosthetic like long and lengthen those gums or something?
Yeah,
Let's
no.
like be smart. I can't.
The $20,000 also included having work done to have them restored upon completion of filming.
Obviously, you would want your teeth back.
Probably got his wisdom teeth pulled out at the same time. You know, just get the whole
Yeah,
thing
he's
done.
like, just like put me under. We'll see what comes out of this.
Oh, speaking of teeth, I think it was Nicolas Cage and Shia LaBeouf who both pulled out their own teeth with wrenches for shooting different films.
Those guys are really sane.
Yeah, they're healthy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we're gonna do this thing. That's gonna be great.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Okay. Long known to completely disappear into a role with physical transformation and deep research into his characters, Gary Oldman's work paid off when he won the Oscar for Best Actor in 2018 for playing British statesman Winston Churchill in The Darkest Hour. Besides wearing incredible makeup to become the very hefty Churchill, Oldman actually was able to quit smoking after playing this role, as he smoked over $30,000 worth of cigars during the shoot, which eventually gave him nicotine poisoning.
Well, at least he was smoking good cigars.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. I
he's
hope they
not
were great.
Packing on those Swisher Sweets like a boss, but
Cut! Well, I just started this one. I guess I'll finish it.
oh,
Yeah, a similar thing happened to Robert Pattinson while filming Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse opposite
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe.
yeah, that's a messy
But
show too.
Pattinson nearly got alcohol poisoning several times based on how much he drank during the actual shooting of scenes.
You can drink and do scenes at the same time?
It's so interesting because
I've been doing...
I just think about this and I think about like the actor's method to get into roles.
Oh, my word.
And the ways that you can do that. And like I'm a musical theater person, so I always think about singers. Audra McDonald, when she did Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill, she would put gin on as perfume. So instead of like actually drinking gin and getting drunk and doing the show as Billie Holiday, she wore gin as perfume.
Yeah.
So the aroma was like it was happening.
Oh, I like
and I'm
that.
like, that's a safe way.
That's
Yeah.
a safe way.
To do this type of thing.
And you are putting kind of the sense of it. You're smelling it
Yes,
on
you're
yourself,
smelling
and other
it, but
characters
you're
are smelling
not putting
it.
yourself through alcoholism.
I take a hot shower and cry a lot. Like, that's my method.
Yes.
Maybe
I
that's
know
what
all
I've been
about-
doing wrong. Maybe that's what I've been
That's it.
doing
That's
wrong.
Okay, now I don't really even want to bring him up, but you almost can't talk about method in today's world and not talk about Daniel Day-Lewis.
Oh,
Yeah.
I covered him pretty well in the episode I did with Zack Schneider about how Daniel Day-Lewis quit stage acting after playing Hamlet. 6 performances from the end of the run, Daniel Day-Lewis may or may not have seen the ghost of his own father on stage, standing next to the actor playing the ghost of his father.
the audience is like, I don't believe it.
No way, size
Forget about
father.
it.
Not
I don't
even
believe in no
there.
ghosts.
Nah.
He left the stage. He left the stage and never returned to it. And this was in 1989, I think. Yeah. I mean, I could talk about how he was in My Left Foot and acted as though he had cerebral palsy, even when meeting the family of the character he was playing.
Is that bad?
It's actually horrific.
He spent months in the backwoods of the Adirondack Mountains
For Last of the Mohicans?
for Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, for
He
shame for his
learned how to
actions?
he learned how to track in the manner of an 18th century Native American. Killed most of his food with a black powder rifle, and even carved his own canoe out of a trunk of a tree, which weren't things he had to do for the script. No one asked.
The director might have though.
Yeah.
So
I need a canoe. Can you make me a canoe while you're going through this
cut
process?
down this tree.
But wait, what did they have? What did they use
I mean,
to
did
cut
he
down
use
the tree?
historically accurate tools?
Yes, he built tools from what he had in his environment. That's as far as I understand. Okay, now I could go on. I could go on, but I think there's one actor I must bring up who I think is challenging Daniel Day-Lewis's effort to create a role. Jared Leto.
There it is.
Leto has been known for his incredibly intense focus on his characters while shooting, often never getting out of character for any reason. He's also applied serious physical changes to his roles as well, which have paid off, like it did when he played a trans woman for Dallas Buyers Club and won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar in 2014. Most recently, you might have seen Leto playing Ares in Disney's Tron Ares, in which he played an AI construct who could be 3D printed into a world to become an ideal soldier. For the shoot, he demanded that the cast and crew didn't really talk to him unless they represented someone from the digital world.
110111011011.
Or that
would
they-
you like a sandwich?
I mean, I've heard of actors doing this. Please refer to me as my character's name when I'm on set. It just keeps me into it. So they could only refer to him as Ares. To play the iconic villain, the Joker, in 2016's Suicide Squad, Leto reportedly wanted to fill his mind with the utter chaos to play the villain known for being utterly unpredictable. So besides his usual focus and commitment while filming, he took to sending treats to his fellow actors. I'm only going to talk about the ones I should probably talk about in front of high school students.
Correct.
Quote, Leto sent Will Smith bullets, gave Margot Robbie a live rat, and supposedly mailed the cast a dead hog.
Okay, no.
You are right. Keep responding. That's correct.
No, because Daniel Day-Lewis was butchering that hog
was-
while it was happening because he was channeling
He
his
was out
his.
getting his canoe and he needed dinner. There's
So-
no way. No way.
I don't want to interrupt. I know I have time, but the problem that we run into is the insanity worth the performance?
Uh-huh.
And how does that affect other people that want to work with him? Zachary and I want to work together as a team to do this event and to do this festival.
Luckily, we're both insane.
Correct. If I was a different person,
Yeah.
you would not want to work with me.
But it just depends on what you bring to the room, right?
Yep. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Don't
Okay,
send me
okay,
a hog.
directors, hold on. And finally, while filming 2022's Morbius, Leto played a man with a blood condition that forced him to use canes for mobility.
Yeah.
This also caused quite a stir with Leto's demand to stay in character throughout the shoot, as walking on crutches in his debilitated state caused Leto to take extraordinary amounts of time for simple breaks while shooting, like bathroom breaks.
Correct.
It got so bad that the crew had to negotiate with Leto to help him to and from the bathroom with a wheelchair so shooting could stay on schedule.
Again,
They're flabbergasted.
drastically
I
selfish.
just want to be happy and be able to
They
sleep.
say,
I
cut,
can't.
I gotta take a pee. Then go take a pee. We'll be here when you get back. Hold on. Creak, creak, creak.
Somebody
Right.
help me. Yeah.
Superheroes who don't pee for like 8 hours when they're
How about there's an installation today of somebody who is just sitting.
Yeah.
And the two things I think are, okay, blinking, and what do you do when you have to go to the bathroom? Okay, that's part of that person's process to do that, but she's not also relying on a whole bunch of other people and to create a product. It's just her, so she's got her process down.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, what's your take on the method now?
I think it's terrible. My take has not changed one bit because I still think it's a selfish action that, and this is difficult for me because we know the word I'm actually trying to use.
Yep.
You and I know the word I'm trying to use, but it's like,
You can whisper it to me later.
yeah, I will. But it's one of those things where you are not the story. The story is you and other people. And if you can't work with the other people, you have no story. It's a selfish act across the board, especially Morbius was terrible. It was a terrible movie. It was a terrible movie. There was not a moment there. And so was Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Like, these are bad shows. And I'm sorry if I
I-
offended any of the teenagers who are like, I'm going to go be like Joker. That's fine. I think you
we
live
got a
your
good
life. You live your life.
I
but-
wasn't overwhelmed by Tron. I see where your performance is, but I could have done the same thing.
Yeah.
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 So in 1979, which was 40 years after the rift between Lee Strasberg and Stella Adler, helped break up the group theater, both were interviewed by the New York Times about which of their acting techniques was more effective and or less damaging to the actor.
Cool.
Lee Strasberg, Stella Adler says, I think what he does is sick. Too many of his students have come to me ready for an institution.
Yeah.
Which she started. I did that thing again.
Here's the counterpoint. Stella Adler, Lee Strasberg says, what about her? There's no comparison about the people who have come out of my school and the people who have come out of her school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it became about them.
It's about.
It became about them.
Yeah, it's a good.
A selfish method for selfish people. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I just take this approach that it's really. I'm not saying simple. Simple is not the right word. You are able to step into a character, step into a role, and find honesty and truth without having to ruin things around you or other people's experiences.
Right.
And
Right.
if we go from that approach, especially in education where I live, we're gonna create good people that don't have to go to these extremes
And
and can get results.
And can
get
and
results.
can still do the performance.
Yes,
And can go on
correct.
stage and find themselves completely in the character and walk off stage and go,
sustainable.
where the hell's my water bottle?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of conversation to be had too in this idea of the method of stage versus film. And I think that would open up an even bigger envelope as we've talked mainly about movies.
Right.
And these people are teaching across spaces. Yeah, we have people in film from Adler, from Meisner, and same on stage, right? So I think that's a bigger deep dive.
Right.
To really see what it's like for people that are not just doing film, which is a high intense thing, but what are people doing if they're using the method and they're having to do 8 shows a week? What's that like?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And living the story from beginning to end.
Yes,
Whereas when you're in film,
you
it's
don't know
like,
where you're at in
Yeah.
the film on the day you
And
could be
it
here,
jumps
the next
all
day
over
you
the
could be
place.
there.
yeah, you can be Marlon Brando screaming Stella and then go,
Yeah.
wait a minute, I didn't get it.
Yeah,
let's try it
do
again.
Right,
and
right.
and then go, okay, I've got enough of those. I don't have anything left in me
Yeah,
today. Let's just go.
absolutely.
But the great part of this is that it gives me so much joy though to watch like a student on stage, and I just watch her break down, and then I run off stage and I go, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I was acting," and I went, "Okay."
Good work. Good work.
What is
Take
that?
my paycheck.
Okay,
Cool.
I think I had Zach Schneider on an episode, and he said Christian Bale. There's a little bit of an interview where Christian Bale is talking to Gary Oldman, and he's like, "Man, for The Darkest Hour, where he played Winston Churchill, I mean, there was such bulk. There was such, like, what did you do to like get into that role?" And he looks at him, he goes, "They have makeup for that."
I was pretending.
I was acting.
So at this point, we're kind of coming to the end of our hour. Gentlemen, final thoughts?
Find the technique that works for you to be safe and that is effective for you to build relationships, enjoy your directors, and most importantly, tell the story.
The story is there and it's already been built. Discover it.
And we're there to tell the story to an audience.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Gang, thanks for coming and listening, and I appreciate all of you. So I guess here are my final thoughts on the matter. Actors, if your preparation dives so deep that you're not going to be able to pull yourself out from it, or if your preparation mars the line between being helpful to your actors or making yourself the most important thing in the show and even more important than the story, maybe you're doing this for the wrong reasons. Those are my thoughts on the matter. You do you, but please stay safe. I want to thank Dustin, Hebert, and Zachary McCulley for having me at the festival and for helping me out with this episode. I'll get another one out to you in another 2 weeks, and I will see you at intermission.